Health Spotlight. We started on March 24th, and we have come to the finale, May 29th. We got one of our own. When I was saying, Dr. Drake, I've been working on your introduction. You're a daughter of Rafiki Coalition. Some of you may recognize Dr. Drake. She works over with us at the mental health or mental wellness team. And I was so happy when she said yeah. So I'm gonna get out of her way because we are in for a treat. Join me in welcoming Dr. Drake to the stage.
Yes, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, it's coming through the microphone, through the speakers. So it's, that's my son over there. His name is Kingston, he's 4. And he is younger than how long I've been working at Rafiki. I've been at Rafiki since 2019, before the pandemic. I was Rafiki's very first clinician. Back when Dr. Mo was here, you all, the folks who attend, kept saying, well, we want mental health. We want some mental health services. And so I came on as the very first mental health clinician at the time. I was a postdoc. I'm fully licensed now. Took me forever. And it was actually Rafiki that took me through my hours. And so I'm eternally grateful that I was able to work in a space like this with, the community, and really be able to provide what I consider to be quality mental health services, okay? So today I'm gonna be talking with you all, and I say with, not to, but with, because I am a call and response presenter. I don't know if whatever I'm saying is meaningful unless you tell me something back, okay? So I consider this to be more of a conversation. I want you all to stop me if you have questions. I want you all to say, all right, if you feeling it, whatever. I really need to know that you're here with me. Is that all right? All right. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to be talking about joy comes in the moment, not in the morning, but in the moment, okay? And I am really going to be talking about engaging spiritual creativity as a tool for intentional wellness. This topic is really, really important to me because it's what I did my dissertation on. I looked at the ways that Black folks use spiritual creativity towards mental wellness, essentially. How do we thrive? I didn't want to do a dissertation based on some negative aspect about what was going on in our community. We have enough research on all of that. But what we don't have enough research on is what are the things that we're doing that makes us thrive as a people, as a culture, as, individuals who are living our daily lives. And so that's what I want to talk about today. And for me, it's really important because a lot of that is just rooted in joy. Black joy, any kind of joy that you can find. And that joy isn't something that you just stumble upon. You have to work hard for it. Right? And so that is sort of what I'm here to talk about. And the way that it intersects with spiritual creativity. So the things that bring me joy are really intentional. I actually, nowadays when you introduce yourself, you also people ask you your pronouns. Mine, she, her, and joyful. Okay. And I say joyful very intentionally because I like to make sure that people know that when you are coming at me with all the stress and all the things, the negativity, okay, that's fine, but I'm here for joy. So where is that at? Actually. So there's that piece. I'm also, in addition to being a clinician and a clinical psychologist here at Rafiki. I work at the California Institute of Integral Studies. I actually trained there in expressive arts therapy, and then I became a faculty member in that program, and then I became the chair of that program, and then I became the dean of faculty development, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you. And so in addition to doing that, now they gave me another job. See, this is what happens when you come with too much joy. They're like, oh yeah, she's great. No, but I'm also the executive director of the Master of Counseling Psychology program. So all 5 concentrations that do training for folks who are working towards licensure as mental health therapists, either as marriage and family therapy or licensed professional counselors, that I manage all of that as well. But my most important job that I have is raising that little one over there. That is my pride and joy right there. Kingston, he is 4, and he was my COVID surprise. So, and I really mean that because I did not even was able to conceive. So I'm an older mom. I didn't conceive until I was 46, and I had him when I was 47. Yeah. God knew what time it was, because he knew he couldn't give that to me until I was well ready. Yes, I was Sarah. That's right. Huh? Divided by 2. Well, yes, because Sarah, we could go on and on. Anyway, so when we talk about spiritual creativity, from my perspective, this is really about, and I'm going to go to my notes here too, because actually from the work that I was doing in my dissertation research, I was really looking at how do Black people thrive? What works? What is really a creative people, and we've been able to bring, a lot of our traditions and concepts followed us here from Africa, but then they morphed and transformed in order to help us through the Middle Passage experience, through enslavement, all of that. And we created things out of hardship. But we don't just create things out of hardship, we create things in order to be able to thrive. And so that's what I'm really looking at. Well, what are the things that we do that keep us healthy, that keep us well, and that keep us joyful? Okay, so I forgot I have this in my hand. So my question is, and I'm asking you all, what happens when we stress? What happens when we go to that place? Because we all have done it. We do it sometimes. Somebody might even be in here doing it right now. Yes.
We clench up and close off.
Clench up and close off. What?
Release cortisol.
Release cortisol, yes.
The
The body
body becomes sick.
becomes sick because of all of the cortisol that's been released in the body. What else?
Not focusing on joy.
Not focusing on joy. Overeat. What else do we do? Watch a whole lot of TV, sit on the couch. What else? What happens in your mind? Can't sleep, wallow in it, develop high blood pressure, right? Because you're just so tense, right? And oftentimes our minds are running away from us, right? We're down the rabbit hole. And somebody needs to go in there and get us out of there, right? And so a lot of what we are doing is the exact opposite of what makes us healthy and happy individuals, right? Let me see. So one of the things that I always like to talk about is Black creativity. I think Black folks are maybe some of the most creative people on earth. And I say that because so much of what we do ends up getting co-opted by other cultures. And so I really feel like this is at the heart, it is at the heart of who we are as a people. That creativity has always existed in African American communities, often in the midst of severe hardship, and is widely accepted as an act that is not only separate from spirituality, but is inseparable from all other forms of creative expression. So that when we talk about creativity, it's the same place that music and dance and poetry and hip hop and all of the things that we love as a people exist. Gospel music, jazz, the blues, that all of that was a creative response often to oppression, right? And so those acts of creativity, the way that we cook in the kitchen and could turn pretty much anything, scraps into like a delicious gourmet meal, all of that exists together. And it,
Say something?
yes.
I see it when, in gospel songs, like when you hear a gospel song being sung, and if you hear a spiritual song in a different genre, in a spiritual setting, you could hear the creative yearn out of the gospel, out of, a Mahalia Jackson song, or where she got it from.
Right.
From the motherland.
Right.
if you will, right?
Yes, absolutely. That none of it is separate from spirituality, because it is a way of being able to go into the self and then to be able to, draw from a higher power, a higher source, pull down from God. And so it's really that process of communication. But, when we talk about it in the church, it's called communion, right? Because it's the process of, often we're praying, but then the second half of it is that we have to listen and be open to whatever God is giving us, whatever is coming in. And so there is this process that I'm going to talk about, which is sort of what makes creativity inseparable from spirituality and what makes all of the forms of creative expression connect, okay? And it's this idea around transformative growth, transformation, and it's really in this area of liminality. What that just means is that you have this moment where you almost lose yourself in the creative act. How many of you all have been involved in some creative thing that you do? Maybe it's cooking or applying your makeup or, doing something, create gardening or whatever. And you zone out and you go somewhere. You have entered what they call in the arts world a liminal space. And what it allows you to do is to access all the different parts of your brain body that normally you don't have access to, because that prefrontal cortex is going down the rabbit hole. Okay. And so what happens in those moments, my mom is a quilter, so she sews and all of that. And so she often says, oh yeah, I really have to just, sometimes the sewing machine can put me to sleep because it's just going, and she knows, she's been doing it for long enough that it is something that she doesn't have to think about. And that's what kind of where we get into this idea of expertise or mastery or something like that. They always say that mastery takes 10 years or 10,000 hours, right? So anything you've been doing that long, you develop a sense of how to do it. And you can hit that liminal space like that. Because you've been doing it so long, you can just drop down into it. So, but she'll get into that space, and then the next thing you know, she's like, yeah, I don't know. I just went in there and I did what I needed to do. And next thing you know, she's got a beautiful quilt, right? Because she's been doing it that long. And that's how it is when we have things that we've been doing for that long. But when we do it intentionally, like knowing that inside of that creative space is the answer to the problem, engage in spiritual creativity for wellness, for your wholeness, health, and your total well-being, okay? And this is what we talk about, like a lot of people who maybe do yoga on a regular basis or just engage in something creative on a regular basis, that this is what is actually fueling them. It's fueling their mental health, it's fueling their physical well-being, all of that, right? And that when we do these, it promotes emotional good expression, reflection, and increased self-knowledge. Because when you're in that space, you're not thinking about all of the negativity. You've just gotten into that flow. You're accessing parts of yourself that you normally don't have access to. And it allows you to be able to reflect, to understand what you're going through better, and then to be able to express that more accurately and intentionally. How many of you all have had an argument and said something you didn't mean to say? Right? We all do it. It's unintentional. But we've had arguments, we've said something we didn't mean to say, and why? Why did that happen?
Because our emotions.
Out of anger, because our emotions were running high. But really, we were moving too fast. Right? We were moving too fast. When we're moving too fast, thinking too fast, doing too fast, trip up and, fall flat on our faces sometimes, hurting people unintentionally, doing things that maybe don't serve us and our personal well-being. That all of that happens like that. It can happen in the moment just because we're like riled up, we got our emotions there. So Dan Siegel talks about the brain body a lot. So I want everybody to put up a fist. I sometimes call it the black power fist. Make sure you have your thumb inside, okay? So this is like a little model of the brain, okay? This is the brain stem. This is what they call the reptilian brain right here. Fight, flight, freeze. 10, befriend. In here is the limbic system. This is where our emotions live, that sort of thing. And then over here at the top part is our prefrontal cortex, okay? This is the manager. This is what helps us actually think and make good decisions. It's our executive functioning. So usually what happens is when we are in a place of stress, moving too fast, whatever, we're not actually online with our prefrontal cortex. We're mostly in here, in the limbic system. We're doing emotion, we're doing memory, we're doing emotion, we're doing memory. That can be an interesting place because one thing we know about memory is that it's not accurate. We remember what we want to remember, and we sift out the details that are unimportant.
That's good. That's good.
Right? It can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing because it's also informing our emotions. And so a lot of times when we're in our emotions, we think that is the truth because that's what our memory is telling us, right? You cannot tell me that this is not the truth because in my mind, my limbic system, it's the truth. That's what's happening. We've got to slow it down. And one of the things about intentionally engaging in spiritual creativity, just the everyday acts of spirituality and creativity that we do, is that it allows us to slow down. How many of you all have worked out a problem when you are in that space cooking or cleaning or gardening or dancing or exercising, doing yoga, whatever, right? So you know why? Because you turn the brain off and you have allowed some other stuff to come back in. You're engaging in this process of reflection, which increases your self-awareness, which allows you to have better emotional expression. Yes.
When you're in that area, is that also releasing the endorphins? And that will help with your...
Endorphins are usually released when you are active, okay? And so what it sometimes might release is like serotonin, which helps, you know, kind of calm you down, level things out. But endorphins are sort of our natural, like, painkillers, and they allow us to, you know, keep going. They tamp down the pain that we might experience from going really hard or really fast or something, and allows us to like get that extra burst. So it's like that mix when you have the endorphins flowing, then you can really access the adrenaline, and that's what pumps you forward. Okay. So we talk about Afrocentric creativity. This is really the act of living with rhythm and soul. Living inside of a rhythm that allows you to move through your daily life the way you want to, okay? Not on somebody else's time, so I'm on my own time. How many of you all have ever said that? I'm not working on your time, I'm on my time. And that is, I think, one of the, as you said, I said that this morning. But that is a way that we call ourselves back from that fast pace, okay? And part of good self-awareness is knowing our own pace. Like if you asking me to move faster than my body and brain can like really actually function to make good decisions, then I have to slow you down, right? How many people don't like to be rushed? I feel like everybody should be raising their hand. I don't know anybody who wants to be rushed, right? The reason why we don't want to be rushed is exactly this. It helps us maintain a better sense of who we are and where we are and what we need. And really, it's that process of being able to check in, right? As we move through our day. So it's that process of rhythm and then soul. How do we get a chance to be able to feel and express affective experiences creatively? What does that mean? Your emotional ways of expressing. And so what this looks like often is what I like to call it manifests itself in what I like to call our cultural technologies, or just cultural practices, the things that we do. The will to adorn. That's how Zora Neale Hurston described it. She described it as a will to adorn. So let's talk about it, y'all. Do we like to dress as a people? Okay. Okay, so who wants to give a compliment in here today? Okay, you want to give a compliment. Okay. Okay. And when you see Rosie and she has on something sassy, what do you say to her? There it is. Ooh, you look good. Girl, you look good. And it's not, oh, you look good. It's, girl, look at you. Okay, I see you. I'm not, okay, sweater. Okay, orange bag. Right? That's part of it, right? The expression, that creative expression that naturally happens for us. It's in the way that we walk. Brother over here, Can I get you to come over here for a second? I just want to, please. What's your name?
My name is DJ.
DJ? Okay. Tell me about something good that's happened to you recently.
Something good that's happened to me recently.
Uh-huh.
I got to experience a different country.
Where'd you go?
Saudi Arabia.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
February.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you knew that you were going to go, you got that first,
I immediately went on YouTube and started looking up videos to see what I was getting myself into.
Okay, all right.
Because everybody who I knew
Mhm.
had this preconception that like, oh, you're going to Saudi Arabia,
Mhm.
you're gonna get bombed, or you're gonna get become prisoner of state or whatever. Like, just all of this
Mhm.
ignorant stuff. But like, that's not what it was. And when I went there, it's entirely different. It's the safest place on the planet. Like, it was an eye opener.
Exactly, and I love that you had that experience. Now, I'm going to ask you, when you found out that you were going to be able to go and you got comfortable enough to be able to get excited about it, show me how you walked.
How I walked.
How you walked.
Like how I was walking in the airport on the way there.
Either on, yeah, that one.
Just my chest out.
And that's his laid back swag right there. You saw that?
Putting nothing extra on it.
You didn't put anything extra on it. Now, if you were going to put something extra on it, do it over there, and then I'm going to leave you alone. Put a little something extra on
Put
it.
a little limp on it, I don't know.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. That is it. That right there. That is what makes us feel good. That. And there's not really a way to describe it except the will to adorn. We have a stylized way of doing just about everything, to the point where when people encounter us, they're like, wait a minute, well, what's going on over here? I want to be a part of it. I have been, anytime my family gets together at a restaurant and we're all together and we're having fun, I have had throughout my life multiple experiences of people we didn't know wanting to come and sit with us. Because we're having fun, we're engaging in joy. It's the creative expression, the spiritual creativity of us just being together, having a good time, and being able to be ourselves. That is what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me see. Who got on some earrings they like today? Who has the earrings on? Oh, yes.
When y'all get together, I want to come.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. The line dancing, everything, yes, and we do that. The use of flamboyance and color and humor and wit and food customs and all of those things. That those are the things that actually make us feel good. Now, how many of those things do you not do when you are stressed? You start to pull away from people. I don't feel like doing that. Oh, I really don't feel like doing my hair today, so I'm gonna just pull it back in a ponytail. I'm gonna just throw on some sweats and keep it pushing, right?
Stay in bed all day.
Stay.
I ain't got no kids. I ain't got no babies. I done raised them. Why I gotta get up?
Right. And that will actually have you in that downward spiral. It really will. Because you're not getting up. You're not doing the thing that makes you feel good. Right? I don't feel like cooking today. Let me just run out and get some fast food. The worst thing you could ever do, right? Right? For a number of reasons, not just because it's fast food and it has all the chemicals in it and whatever. You're not engaging in the spiritual creative process of cooking, of allowing your creativity to flow, of following a recipe or doing something that you know is already inside of you. Right? Yes.
What's that creativity?
Yeah.
I used to cook 3 times, breakfast, lunch, dinner, homemade meals.
And it may not even be these elaborate meals. Sometimes it's just, I went to the store and oh my goodness, the vegetables all look so good. Let me just run in here and go downstairs or wherever your kitchen is, and how many colors can I put in this salad? Because don't they tell you to eat your colors? Right? Like that's a creative act, you know? It doesn't have to be that you're making these elaborate meals, but it's that you're engaging with intentionality, that you are intentionally putting your effort in to something that is going to make you feel good. Okay.
And I seen some corn on the cob. I love corn on the cob. It takes me back to being on my grandmother's ranch in Texas and just smelling that steamed corn throughout.
Oh my goodness.
That right there with the butter.
Yes. Let me tell you, that can be almost a spiritual experience in and of itself, right? Right? And so it's not that we have, and I really want to be able to help us break apart these ideas about what creativity is, what you know, it means to engage in a creative, any kind. You're not paying Starbucks, okay, or whoever. But two, you're engaging even in the creative act of making your coffee. You got your special grounds. Oh yeah, I like this brand of coffee. I like, sometimes that's it, you know, for the people who drink it black, but it has to be the right like ratio. My mom is a black coffee drinker and she's like, it has to be, she has one of those Keurigs, exactly 12 ounces, no more, no less. I need this kind of pod in there. I want, you know. So even that is a process that allows you to, you know, be able to feel into yourself. Your bath time, your shower time. I'm in there, I'm mixing all the body washes. Oh, I want this one and that one today. You know what I mean? Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, that's great.
I have to just go on. Coffee is our spiritual food in general. But coffee is like it's a big ceremony for me.
Yes.
It's just you sit down together.
Uh-huh.
But you know, and you just what's that
But-
called when you roast the beans.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, she knows. She knows.
Exactly.
So I went back to there, so I just want to say.
I really appreciate you stopping me about that because, as I said, you can run over a process and think, oh, it's nothing. But it actually comes from some place. And we know that Ethiopia, they have been roasting coffee for millennia, okay? Doing these kinds of rituals. Why? Because it's done in community. It makes you feel good. The roasting of the coffee, it engages the senses, like all of these different things. So now it's more than just a cup of coffee that you're drinking as you're trying to get to work, but it's actually something that you are putting some intentionality into. So it's less about necessarily what you're doing. It's always about the intention behind it. Always.
The intention also is just to actually, it's also when you get to that coffee, so it's not only, you know, like you're drinking coffee, but you're thinking of, oh, somebody's pregnant, so who's gonna help her? Who's gonna cook this? Who's gonna, you know, it's like somebody's getting married, you know, somebody died, who is gonna cook? I mean, it's like, there is,
It's community. It's community. It's sharing the responsibility. It's being able to think about others. What do people need? How can I show up? How can I help? I mean, the act of coming here when is this thing happening? Once a month? This is the finale every 2 weeks, whatever, for the dinner. Why? because you're coming, you're having a nourishing meal, you get a chance to talk to your friends and check in with people you haven't seen in a while, you know, engage in a relationship with each other, and then be able to stimulate your mind and body through engaging in a process with the presenter, right? That all of that matters. All of it matters. Let's see. Okay. So the other thing that I want to talk about is this idea of the challenge attitude. One of the great finds in my research was this book called Triumph of the Soul by Ferdinand, and I forget what his brother's name is, but they're the Jones brothers, and they are orthopsychiatrists. And they wrote this chapter, or Ferdinand Jones wrote this chapter called Jazz and Resilience, okay? But jazz and resistance is what he talks about in the challenge attitude. And I'm going to just break this down, okay? So the challenge attitude in African American culture is expecting that there is another, perhaps opposite meaning to what white authority presents as truth, especially as it pertains to the challenger's self-identity. So a lot of times we get a lot of messages about who we are, what we are, negativity about all of that, right? But that's not what we actually think about ourselves. We've always held a different conception, different version of assessment for ourselves. The challenge attitude prepares Black Americans to screen stimuli for their potential threat. The individual interprets others' words, norms, and givens from a skeptical position. So already, it's like, I'm not trying to hear what you have to say. That doesn't mean anything to me, because we know the truth of who we are, right? Always have. It's been, you know, sort of taught into us, really, by our family, our parents, our caregivers. Always had to do that. The other's truth can therefore either be redefined or accepted unaltered, right? So you telling me something about myself, and I'm like, that's actually not true. So I'm going to ignore what you just said because that's not the truth to me, or I'm going to challenge what you said because that's absolutely not true, and I'm not going to allow you to even go another step, day, whatever, thinking that that's the truth about me. And that the action of interpretation is the key element in the exchange, right? It's like my interpretation of myself, not yours. And it affirms the interpreter's subjective autonomy and therefore spares the individual from psychological dominance, even when he or she cannot control the physical circumstance. So even when it is out of our control, what we always have control over is how we interpret ourselves in the moment, and that is an act of spiritual creativity. Even that. Our resistance is spiritual creativity too. Okay? When we know something isn't right and we have to speak on it, that's spiritual creativity. We're in a space where we're listening, we're taking in, we're assessing. No, that's not correct. And let me set you straight, okay?
That's really good when you are aware of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's really terrible, and you could go
Uh-huh. Right.
of being someone, of being what someone's expectation of you is.
Right, exactly. What do they call respectability politics? That's what they call it. The young people give me all the words. Respectability politics. It's when you are being viewed from the outside and then given some standards by which you're supposed to move, and then judged if you don't move by those standards, right?
That's what TV does.
Yeah.
I just had this experience I would like to share, and it was, I was at Whole Foods return, and I had a lot of things because I just, happened to buy a lot and I was returning. The person before me was a Caucasian man. He had about 30 batteries he was returning. And I was returning 12 dresses. They just weren't right. But another woman, who kind of Middle Eastern, I could hear the accent, of a Caucasian descendant. And she says, you should stop helping her and help me and help us. And I was like, long gone are those days, honey. That's not happening today, okay? And he said, oh, I feel like quitting because this is my second day. And I was like, it's okay. Hey, I said, it's okay, baby. You just go and just do what you're doing right here. Stay focused.
Right.
But, you kind of want to waver a little bit. I can see, because you're not conditioned that my presence is
valuable.
And I noticed right before then, correct me, and I don't want to take over, but I just want to know, when he saw me, he looked at me and he began to clean up. And I took that first initial, and I felt some type of way, like, I'm here. Would you have done that if I was a white woman?
Right.
And so then your line got backed up.
Right.
Now the white woman telling you, no, don't help our black ass.
Right.
You go on.
Right.
So I was like, really, West Side Chicago was coming up.
She said West Side Chicago was coming up. But honestly, no, that is a great example. And I love how you just really broke every piece of that down, because that is what we're having to do all the time. We're scanning the environment to see, is the treatment going to be different for us than it is for other people? And because of the sort of what I call bad press about us that's really international, people come here often and say, whatever you do, don't associate with black people.
Because she's an angry black woman.
Because she's an angry black person, she's this, she's that.
The quiet thing that happened, and then our voice, because what he did was subtle, and then if I had got loud, it would have been, oh, she just over there, ghetto black girl.
Emotional.
And so therefore, our story gets tainted right there, because you didn't see, I was ignored, and that brought up a feeling in me.
Right.
And
it's the invalidation and the invisibilizing of me in my humanity, and feeling like I should be able to be treated equally, right? But people come.
carried that for a few days.
I can see it, and I'm glad that you had a chance to work it out right here. But this is the thing. The worker probably didn't even recognize that he had engaged in that act of oppression in that moment. He didn't recognize it because it is so pervasive. It is so pervasive for people to just have these like ways of thinking about us that, they just default into.
Because their movement in the world is different.
Exactly. They have different points of privilege, right?
Right, unauthorized privilege.
Right, exactly.
But the one thing, and my takeaway I just want to say, is that I've recently heard that when we don't express ourselves, and that's why black women have heart attacks more than any other races, because when we do not let whatever is happening to me, that just happened to me about 3 weeks ago, and when I don't really get all of that out, then I start the tachycardia. And then I start, my heart gets to palpitating, and I get to squeezing the muscle.
That's the
hurting
stress.
it. That's the start.
That's
of
the
a heart attack.
constant cascade of cortisol in your body,
Exactly.
having to navigate systems of oppression all day long.
I want to say something.
Yes.
All right, first of all, it's fairly obvious that I'm not of African descent at all, but, stuff goes on in
all different parts of the community, and it's so important that we're together in community and that we can talk about these things, because otherwise, you know, you tell somebody that maybe isn't quite understanding the lay of the land, and they're like, oh, you're oversensitive, you're overreacting, they didn't really mean it that way. And I had a thing happen just about 3 weeks ago. I belong to another organization, and I've offered, I'm legally blind, I only have about 10% of my eyesight, and I've offered if anybody else in the organization is worrying about losing their eyesight, I'm glad to help them and mentor them and teach them about how to survive as a blind person. And so I was matched up with this woman of European background, an American woman, and I spent 2 hours with her going over paratransit and, you know, all the different blind things that help you get through life. And then we had agreed we would eat lunch together. After that, we were eating lunch, and it ended up in the conversation where she was asking me, you know, what I did with this organization that had matched us up, and I said I don't really go to much of their events anymore because I just get tired of being usually one of 1 or 2 or 3 people of color, and everybody else is white, and I just don't feel like it's such a good match for me. And she said, why do you think about race? I never think about race. I just think of you, you're just like a white person. And I said, well, I'm not a white person. And she goes, you don't need to think about race. And I said, no, you don't need to think about it.
There it is.
But I need to think about it. And then because we were done eating, she says, well, I got to get my taxi and go home. And then while we were both waiting to go home, she said, okay, I'm going to call you and have you help me more with this going blind stuff. And I thought,
You might be calling, but I may not be answering.
The next day, I went on a Rafiki hike, and I ended up talking with a woman, I can't see that well, of Asian American descent, and also with Maxine. And they both said, oh my God, like, how could she do that? And really stuck up for me, like, no, that was not okay. And she was totally dismissing your whole reality and your whole view of the world. And before you help, well, the Asian American woman said, don't help her again. And she said, give her time, because it might take a while for it to percolate through her brain. And she said, you could email her and just tell her why that wasn't okay, and then just tell her you're really busy. And, you know, hopefully by the time we see each other again, you'll understand what I'm writing about. And it was just nice to have that somebody has your back.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I really appreciate what you just said, because really, I mean, oppression takes all forms. And I really love that you were able to articulate your experience that way, and that you right after were able to go to the Rafiki walk and have your experience validated. And just like you did here today, that's part of the spiritual creativity. It's not just about living individually. It's about living in community, where we get a chance to bounce off of each other, learn from each other, be validated by each other, work with each other, so that then we can go out into the world feeling as though, like you said, somebody has your back. You know you're not alone. You feel the sensation of being together and being in community. All of that matters for our wellness.
You were saying it really affected you, and you felt bad for a couple days, and I felt really bad that whole rest of that evening and into the next morning. And it was only on the Rafiki hike that I was able to talk about it and have somebody say, oh my God, you know?
Those moments are so important, because they highlight our humanity. And we have to be able to feel human. Thank you. We have to be able to feel human. We have to be able to have other people acknowledge our humanity, validate our being, right? So what does wellness look like? And I put not healing, wellness, because healing can be a lifelong journey. Okay?
Can I say something?
Yeah, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's just when these things happen, they makes me mad, but also it
Mhm.
So say, be nice to the white people. They might discover their humanity.
Right. Right. And you have to gauge your ability to do that, right? Because some days you're resourced and you can do a lot of that. And then other days you're not as resourced and you can do zero of that. So it's just being able to gauge where you are at any given moment, in any given time, right? Because, some of it is about teaching, but then some of it is about being able just to say, okay, I'm still too activated to really engage in that right now, right? And that's okay also. So as I was saying, healing can be a lifelong journey, but wellness is something that you can engage in at any point of the day, regardless of what's going on in your environment, whatever, right? So what does it look like? What makes you feel like you are engaging in wellness on a daily basis?
Walking in nature.
Walking in nature. What else?
Dancing.
Dancing.
Reading.
Reading. Exercise.
Being aware of what's happening with my body.
Being aware of what's happening with the body.
Eating a healthy meal.
Eating a healthy meal.
Sleeping a healthy amount of time.
Yes. And
Sunlight.
sunlight. Sleeping uninterrupted hours of sleep. That's also really good. Yes. Chocolate. That is dark chocolate. Yes. What else? Music.
Making a point of interacting with the people around me with intention.
Making a point of interacting with people around me with intention. Love that. Yes. Praying. I'm going to say playing. Because I have that little one and we play a lot. And, there was this moment this semester. I had a really tough semester. I have to be honest. I work in a DEI office. And so this year I had to really navigate a lot. I mean, it's still happening, but when it all hit and we had these executive orders from the federal government, that's what I'm gonna just say, this current federal administration, there was just a lot happening. And I remember there was a day that felt particularly heavy, and it happened to be a rainy day also. And I was like, oh my goodness, okay, what am I gonna do? And then I picked my son up from school and it just had a downpour. I said, put on your rain boots, your raincoat, let's go get your umbrella. And I just let him play in the rain, and we did the umbrella brigade. That's something my mom used to do with us, where we would take our umbrellas out in the rain and she'd march us all up and down the street and let us play in the rain or whatever. And he got so into it, he let go of his umbrella, and the umbrella's over here and he's over there. And then there's this it's where we live, there's a parking lot, and so the rain was just coming down and going down into the grate, so it was pretty clean. And he got on his knees, whoo, and then the next thing you know, he's on his back. And I just let him play. And that, for me, just watching him be so carefree and so joyful, and he was like, oh, I can't breathe. I said, oh, it's taking your breath away, huh? And it was just the sweetest moment. And I was like, what am I worried about? This is the most important thing in life, right here, right now. So it's just really coming away from all of the things that would make you stress, right? And remembering what it is that life is actually about, engaging in that spiritual creativity, which is ultimately joy. Okay? So I think that is what I am going to be able to do back somewhere. Oh, where is it? The place where I wanted to do the playlist? Oh, wonderful. On the door, before you all leave, what I'd like you to do is to write down a song that makes you feel joyful, okay? We're going to have, we're going to put it into a playlist, and we're going to make it available on YouTube. It's going to be called the Rafiki Community Wellness Playlist, okay? So go ahead, put your song that makes you feel joyful. Yeah, your part. Yeah. I gave Miss Lana an assignment. Okay, I gave her an assignment. This is something I like to do. It's to capture impressions, capture what's happening in the room, phrases, words, and really it's our community poem. So let's go. What do you have?
Say it loud.
Oh no.
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yes.
Oh, guess what happened?
Don't worry. It's what it's supposed to be. Just
She, her, joyful, clench up, close off. Body becomes sick, release cortisol. Can't sleep, develop high blood pressure. Walking in nature, dancing, breathing, being aware of what happens. Sleeping uninterrupted. Chocolate, dark chocolate. Music, walking in nature, being intentional when you are in community. Praying, playing. Praying, playing, and remembering it's all about joy.
All right.
there it is. Thank you.
Dr. Drake, you knocked it out the park. Thank you, Dr. Drake. Let's give her another round.
Thank
of
you.
applause.
Thank you.